안녕하세요 and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Cuppa Joe, where I, your host, Mr. Euler, will talk about things I like in music. And this time out, I would like to talk about my favorite vocalist. And so, to be clear, the opinions contained herein belong to me and me alone. David Bowie, ladies and gentlemen, is my favorite vocalist. David Bowie was born David Robert Jones, and he changed his name when he entered the music business so as not to perpetuate any confusion with Davy Jones of the American pop band The Monkees. Mr. Bowie's perhaps most internationally well-known song comes from 1971. It's playing in the background. It's from his album Hunky Dory, and it's titled Changes. And I find that to be a rather appropriate title to discuss why he is my favorite musician. And so I would like to share a few lines from his New York Times obituary that I think frames my comments. David Bowie, the infinitely changeable, fiercely forward-looking songwriter who taught generations of musicians about the power of dramas, images, and personas, died 2 days after his 69th birthday. And so I would like to draw your attention to the list of dramas, images, and personas. Because that, ladies and gentlemen, is what Mr. Bowie's voice does for me. To continue on another 2 lines about his voice from the obituary. Yet throughout Mr. Bowie's metamorphoses, his changes, he was always recognizable. His voice was widely imitated, but always his own. And so again, his voice is always his own, yet it contains drama, image, persona. And so the voice changes even within the song. And so this is what I would like to point out as I walk through a few examples. The first is from his 1969 song, A Space Oddity. And in the clip I'm going to play for you, I want to point out that there are 2 different characters. There is the character of ground control, and there is the character of Major Tom, the astronaut. Interestingly, this song was released 5 days prior to the Apollo 11 moon mission launch. But it tells the story of an astronaut, Major Tom. And again, it's never confusing that it is Mr. Bowie's voice, but the voice of each persona is different in quality. And so automatically, with two voices, a drama is set up. And so we have, I believe, a very clear example of drama and persona.
Though I'm past 100,000 miles, I'm feeling very scared, and I think my spaceship knows which way to go. Tell my wife I love her very much. She knows. Ground control to Major Tom, your circuit's dead. There's something wrong. Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom?
The second example I'd like to give us is an example of a duet. And so already we have two personas. We have a musical drama, if not a narrative drama. And again, the simple image of the well-known song is quite nice. And so I just want to share this as, again, how he is able to be him even when he's with another human being.
They told me, ba-rum-pa-pum-pum, a newborn king to see, ba-rum-pa-pum-pum. Our finest gifts we bring, ba-rum-pa-pum-pum, rum-pa-pum-pum, rum-pa-pum-pum. Peace on earth, can it be? Years from now, perhaps we'll see. Our see the day of glory. See the day of living peace.
Now, his voice may have been overpowering Bing Crosby's voice in that duet, and there's a number of reasons for that, but we see quite the opposite here when he joins up with Queen and they sing, he sings this duet with Freddie Mercury. And now Freddie Mercury is an acknowledged all-time great voice of anybody, anywhere, bar none kind of thing. But I would like to point out that Bowie's voice in this clip, it is an equal voice, though it does seem to take back seat at times. I would argue that the drama of the situation, these two persona, Freddie Mercury and David Bowie, the drama of the situation is passed on or handed off back and forth between them. But again, an interesting, I think, way of looking at his vocal ability. So Under Pressure, ladies and gentlemen.
Turned away from it all like a blind man. sat on a fence, but it don't work.
Keep coming up with love, but it's so slashed and torn.
Insanity laughs under pressure we're breaking. Can we give ourselves one more chance? Why can't we give love that one more chance?
And so I next come to Let's Dance from 1983. Perhaps the height of Bowie's commercial popularity. He did go on to record duets with Tina Turner, Mick Jagger, and others as well. But I think here, in this song, Let's Dance, we can hear him carrying the emotion himself. And with the changes in his voice, he's acknowledging the inner persona of the individual, perhaps. There's not two people in this song, as in A Space Oddity. But again, I would suggest, well, it's in the first two lines he sings. The first line he sings is very soft and subtle and seductive, but then when he takes up the second line and the register goes up a bit higher, he's got some energy and growl in his voice. Animalistic, can I say? And so I find this, again, to be a quality of his voice that I appreciate.
You could look into my eyes. Under the moonlight, the serious moonlight. And if you say run, I'll run with you. And if you say hide, we'll hide. Because my love for you would break my heart in two. If you should fall into my arms and tremble like a flower.
And almost lastly, we come to a band he formed just to do something slightly different, I think, one of his metamorphoses. And as the title of this song suggests, there's anger, bitterness, frustration. Ask yourselves, if you can't read in this world today, how happy can you really be? And again, before we even hear the sound of his voice or the song, we don't expect it to be happy. I might also suggest that he's very much nodding to primal scream therapy, interestingly, in this particular edit. So again, I find his vocal dexterity to be without limit, almost. fantastic. And so I would like to share a longer bit with you before we leave, and this in the company of Professor One. And so this song, I think, in just the bit longer clip I'm going to play for you, exhibits every one of the traits that I have talked about over these 4 or 5 shorter edits. And so from 1980, ladies and gentlemen, this is David Bowie in Ashes to Ashes.
Smoking pistol. I've never done good things. I've never done bad things. I never did anything out of the blue. Whoa. Want an axe to break the ice. Wanna come down right now. Ashes to ashes, funk to funky. We know Major Tom's a junkie, strung out in heaven's high, hitting an on-time road.
So again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking a few minutes of your time to go through Mr. Bowie's vocal pyrotechnics. But I hope you enjoyed this little bit of talk, and who knows, we may do this again and again and again even. And so until again, thank you and take care.